What drives me crazy about financial YouTubers. All right, so I watched I got a video I watched the other day, which I kind of reported on. I suppose report. I'm a reporter. I'm a journalist. Drives me insane about how Generation X is doomed. I tell you. And so I guess because I clicked on that, I watched the whole thing. I'm getting a bunch of financial YouTubers in my feed now. And one I was just watching about the lies people tell about retirement or something. I can't remember what it was. And it's just, oh my goodness. I'm going to nitpick a little bit here, but it drives me insane. Not going to lie, it drives me insane. So this guy was talking about the 4% rule. He basically said Bill Bangan used a Monte Carlo analysis. No, he did not, man. Bangan did not use a Monte Carlo analysis. He just looked at historical rates of return, 60-40 portfolio, 60% large cap domestic stocks, 40% U.S. government intermediate bonds. That's it. He said, what's the maximum, the minimum you could, the maximum you could widdraw, that's it, the maximum, safe withdrawal rate, maximum you could withdraw without running out of money on any 30, I think it's actually 33-year retirement. And he came up with 4%. He didn't use small caps. No, he just used 60-40 large U.S. stocks and intermediate bonds. That's it, man. Monte Carlo is, historic rates of return are not Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo is not historic rates of return, two completely different things. Anyways, that's frustrating to me. And then the Trinity Study came around in '97 or something like that from Trinity University in San Antonio, and I think they added international stocks and they added small caps as well, and they came up with a 4.4% safe withdrawal rate. Safe withdrawal rate, the maximum you could take out on any X amount of time, 30-year retirement or so, without ever running out of money. And so that has simply taken off as God's spoken word. I don't even mind that so much. Bangan has changed his thoughts on this, and that's great. It was a wonderful, wonderful change in how financial planners were doing before. The problem is YouTubers jump on this and they act like this is the God's chosen word. It's just not the case. And so this guy was also saying that if you started back in 1871, you could take, I forgot what he said, if you did 4% a year adjusted with inflation, you would have X amount of times you will have that's what take me off. You will have this much, like 5 times more than what you started with. You will have this. I was like, you can't say this, dude. I mean, if you're a rookie, you can, but if you're a financial advisor with some experience, you can't say you will have this. You can expect that. You can't say that because it's based on historic rates of return, and we don't have enough data on bonds. But basically before 1930. In fact, you can even make an argument before World War II. We just don't have enough data on bonds. I got a book, I haven't started reading it, but it's from 1960, I think. Talk about the depression of the 90s. Talk about the 1890s, and he shows some bonds, the government bonds were issued at 2, 4, 6% and whatnot. In the 1870s, 1880s. All right, what's our rate of return on these? Are we just going to use a coupon? All right, well, what coupon are we using? We use the 6% coupon, we use the 4%, we use the 2%. Then he shows how much bonds are issued. I mean, how can you extrapolate that into any rate of return? There wasn't a mutual fund that did that for us. How do you do that? You can say we're using a coupon on the 6% government bond in 1895. Well, that's fine. But I can say we're using a 4% coupon on the government bond in 1895. Okay. So, and then, going back to my man Isaacson. No, what the hell is it? Not Isaacson. Ed Macquarie, Isaacson. I was thinking Walter Isaacson for some reason, that guy who wrote a bunch of books. Ed Macquarie, who I interviewed on my YouTube channel from Santa Clara University, Professor Emeritus, which means he's old is what he says. It's kind of funny. He talks about we just have no data enough to justify basic bond returns, especially using the Ibbotson data, from 1926, the SBBVI, which is stocks, bonds, bills, inflation. He challenges Roger Ibbotson's SBBVI stuff, and we just don't have enough data sets. We just don't. To sit there and say, based on limited data, that you will have this if you follow these rules, it drives me flipping batty, dude. I just can't stand that. Financial YouTubers, by and large, in my opinion, look, there's a million out there, and I'm painting with a broad brush, and I don't mean to. I guess I'm trying to make myself seem smarter than I am, I guess. I don't know. But financial YouTubers are headline-based. Like, the headlines say this from Yahoo Finance or Motley Fool or something like that. And I'm just going to use that and show why this, that, and the other. And look, I get it. I do that myself. But I do that because I want to destroy the negativity that is in retirement planning. Because the negativity is based on false assumptions, as I said a million times a Sunday. When financial YouTubers don't have the basic data, and they're putting stuff out there, it drives me batty. And again, I got no qualm with people doing that. If it makes some people think, that's great. It drives me insane. That's why I can't listen to most of these people, because I'm sitting there, I'm just literally getting viscerally angry. I'm not getting angry. I just like, what? Bangan isn't using a Monte Carlo analysis. You don't have enough data from 1870 on to say, if you do this, you will have that. You should never say, I will have that, because you don't know. We don't have enough rolling sample. We don't have enough 30-year sample sizes to make any kind of statistic probabilities on that anyway. We just don't. Monte Carlo has its problems too. The idea that Monte Carlo is this quick fix for everything. Look, I like Monte Carlo. I use it all the time, but let's not pretend that Monte Carlo is all that in a bag of chips. It's just not. The reason for that is because Monte Carlo, each scenario is independent of the previous one. And that's just not how the markets work. Markets are human beings. Human beings run the markets. Human beings know what happened last year. Human beings know what the earnings expectations of GM are going to be. Human beings make these decisions. As such, human beings react accordingly. And so that's why, if you look, we've only had one. If you take a broad, all right, just S&P 500. I'm not going to go back to 1800s. I'm just going to start with 1926. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the 1870s, and that was like the S&P 5, something like that. But going back to 1926, the S&P 500 has had only two times where we had three consecutive down years. 2000, 2001, and 2, 1929, 1930, 31, 32. And then the 1929 to 32 was in mass deflation. 2000, 2001, and 2 was an inflation. Not a huge inflation, but that's it. So we've only had twice have we ever had the S&P 500 lose money in more than 2 consecutive years. And if you actually had a value fund, not even the Wellington, but we'll just use a Windsor fund that had value. I think Windsor fund and value stocks. I can't remember. You did not lose money in 2000. You only lost money in 2001, I think, and 2002. So if you actually take instead of just the S&P 500, or even if you want to use a Wellington fund or Fidelity Balance, you did not lose money in 3 consecutive years in 2000, 2001, and 2. Obviously, those funds did not exist in 1929, 1930, 31, 32. And off the top of my head, I can't remember what Wellington did. I just don't recall. But anyway, be that as it may. So we have very rare instances where the markets are down in consecutive years. Then we have 73, 74. And that's it, man. So going back to 1926, 29, 30, 31, 32, 73, 74, 2000, 2001, and 2. We've only had, that's it. We've only had 3 instances. This is the S&P 500, but the S&P 500 has been down more than once in consecutive years. That's it. 1 time, 2 times, 1 time, 3 times, 1 time, 4 times. Yeah, I'm almost positive that's true. So reason Monte Carlos are suspect is because they don't recognize that. They say, man, you could be down 5 consecutive years. It's never happened. I mean, it could be. That's why I like Monte Carlos. We don't know. You could be. But that's the problem with Monte Carlos is they assume everything's independent of the previous years. It's just not true. Human beings are not rational creatures relative to what your rationality would be. They could be rational to me because we both see things differently. It's amazing. Anyway, I just wish the financial YouTubers would have more, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Just background knowledge on this stuff. It's almost like I was talking to my daughter, Maddie, and she's a linguist. She loves linguistics. It's like pop psychology for financial advisors, it's like financial pop. And personally, I can't stand it because this is my business. This is my industry, and I take much esteem and pride in my business. And I do not like when just any Joe Schmo can jump in there and start spouting off stuff that it just bothers me, man. I just like, no. It'd be like if you're a freaking, SEC football coach, and here I come telling you as a drunken white guy in the stands, like, you should have benched Carson Beck and put in Joe Schmo. It's like, dude, shut the hell up. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not mad at these people. I love it. More speech is better than less speech. That's why financial YouTubers drive me up the wall, because I'm just like, ugh. There's more to this than just reading a headline in the Wall Street Journal. You know what I'm saying? God bless. Love your thoughts. Thumbs up. We'll see you.